The Finance Committee met on Monday and unanimously approved funding for the rehabilitation of the Jackson Homestead and Museum basement. The total allocation includes over $1.4 million, plus an additional $204,000 from the Community Preservation Act. The project will address water damage, implement waterproofing measures, install modern climate control and HVAC systems, and enhance the basement's finish for archival preservation.
So today we're here to talk about the Jackson Homestead Basement Renovation Project, which recently went through Public Facilities Committee. The scope of the renovation includes waterproofing the basement, climate control and HVAC system upgrades, and improving finishes. As you can see from the picture to the left, water is infiltrating the basement through the fieldstone foundation walls, causing instability to the structure. Doesn't look great. As part of phase 1 of this project in 2022, Habib and Associates Architects completed a report with existing conditions and conceptual design ideas, and CPA funded that to $75,000 of historic resource funds. So this is what we're recommending for funding. We've decided, the Community Preservation Committee has decided to bond this project. We'll talk more about what went into that decision, but the $204,000 represents A&E expenses, architecture and engineering that would need to be spent prior to the next fiscal year. And so those funds would need to be made available immediately. And the bonded amount represents the bid amount. Bidding is scheduled to happen in August. The committee at their 2 meetings ago now in January discussed the threshold for bonding. Ideally, the annual debt payment would be no more than 20%, I think 20 to 50% of the annual target. So CPA funding includes 4 targets: historic resource spending, open space, recreation, and community housing. And so the idea would be that whatever is our target amount to spend for what we bring in that year, no more than 20, I think we actually came closer to 50 in the end, percent of that amount would be spent on debt service payments year to year. So that's where our goals are. The first 2 columns represent what were probable low and high interest rates at the time of the bond sale. And I know I ran this past Maureen as well when we initially discussed it, to look at a range of what the lower and higher end of a payment we could end up making. For 5, 10, and 15 years. We also looked at what the second 2 columns represent, the lifetime cost of those ranges as well. And the committee decided to recommend 10 years. We felt that the range of payments for 10 years made the most sense for our current finances.
From either or both Lisa and Josh, I don't need the full details because obviously this has been kind of in the works for a while and we had the previous study and everything, but just kind of, what we're hoping to accomplish, what timeline, things like that, just, kind of quickly. Thanks.
Sure, happy to jump in. And Lisa, if you want to speak to the archives portion, happy to kick that over to you. But from a facility standpoint, basically, it's a fairly straightforward project. The existing basement is a fieldstone foundation, as Molly mentioned. This actually dates back a couple decades ago. One of the early projects at the Jackson Homestead, this was something that the Public Buildings Department had wanted to tackle, but it didn't fit within the budget. And since then, the condition of the basement the foundation walls has deteriorated, not surprisingly for a fieldstone foundation in a building of this age. So what this project is going to do is it's going to waterproof the foundation, stop the water infiltration, address any dew point issues. It is going to replace the portable dehumidification units that you'll see kind of scattered around the ceiling and in closets when you go there, with a central system that is sized appropriately for the space. And it will help improve the overall climate control for both temperature and humidity for the archive space, and have a subsequent effect of improving the conditions throughout the building. And then lastly, it's because we have to do all that work, we've got some finishes that we're going to have to restore and repair. So the nice thing is it will also have a nice effect to the general look and feel of the space when it's all said and done. And then that will ultimately pave the way for Lisa and her team to do the archives upgrades down there, which will be what the community then benefits from.
All those in favor of the item, please say aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes 7-0.